Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah Wiseman. Today our lesson is your intuition real? Is your intuition real? Your desire to become intuitive, you desire to become intuitive because you know it is possible. In your heart, you understand clearly that intuition is something attainable, not a gift only for a chosen few. It is your birthright. It is part of who you are. The practice of spiritual intuition teaches you how to unlock your intuition, how to open your windows so that the universe may reach you easily, simply, every day at all times. And I find this, at this point in my life, I find this question, is intuition real, or is your intuition real, or can everybody have intuition? I don't know. I find it kind of interesting that people are still asking this question, because to me, from my perspective, of course it's real. Of course everyone has it. Of course it's this unstoppable super intelligence that we all share as collective soul. It's the way oneness communicates. So oneness, I accept fully. I have seen the fruits of intuition, or the way intuition works, so often in my own life that I'm just kind of surprised that people are still coming to this as like, oh, but it's not real, or yeah, it is. So how do we get there, and how do we access this if we're just starting to come to this idea? Or how do we access this in a more authentic way if we have been loaded down by a lot of the superstition or a lot of the commercialization of the idea? Because anytime there's an idea, now that we have social media, now that we have internet connection, anytime there's something new, it's immediately monetized, right? It's immediately monetized. And people have programs, and they charge tons of money, and there's this whole culture around it, and there's a lot of rules to follow, and there's certain ways. And so in that sense, we haven't grown very far from the old superstitious practices where we thought, witches are scary, or people that do this kind of work are odd. It's like we haven't come that far from there, when we're not using the old superstitions, but we've created a lot of new cultural superstitions around these practices. And again, it's because of commercialization. So how do you move into this in a really authentic way? Like, how do you access your own intuition in a reliable, repeatable way that doesn't have anything to do with using any particular tool? It's just, you just use your mind, and you just use your awareness. And here's where especially different ancient traditions, where meditation was one of the keys, this going into I'm going to call it the deeper mind, or the spiritual self, going into this more stillness awareness is really where you start to hear this sort of the intuitive voice. When I do meditation or journeying, at this point, in having done it a long time, and some of you guys have done this too, I find that there are different layers and levels that I can go to in the meditative state, like almost like visiting different places. And so when we do some types of meditation, we go into vastness, We hang out in vastness, relaxation, being in oneness. And that is one place to go. When I do what I call intuitive gathering, I go into a place that's much closer to the human daily experience, but it is this place of relaxation, of pausing, of letting go of the mind thinking it has the answer. So it's almost like you let go of everything your mind is telling you, all the ways you try and figure something out. And you just tune into this stillness. And then you sort of put your question in the stillness. So say I'm a person wondering, did a particular, say my friends are having some gossip and I'm getting two sides of the story. One person says one thing, one person says the other. And I'd really like to know the truth of the matter, or, what really happened if there's no actual deeper truth. And so I let my mind stop churning about, oh, this person said this, and then trying to figure out like how likely would that be. And then this person said this, okay, my logical mind's going to figure that out. And I just let go of all intellectualizing, rationalizing, trying to figure it out with the mind. I let go, trying to figure it out from these various influences coming in. And instead, I go into stillness, and I might do this with my eyes open, or I might do it with my eyes closed, and I just kind of relax. And maybe I even don't even think about the thing. I just kind of relax, and I just find this place of stillness. I'm not really seeing anything, it's just gray. And then I just kind of set the question in the stillness. And then I just notice what's happening. And sometimes there'll be this very clear understanding, and sometimes it'll just be more stillness. But if we continue to pause out of what the rational mind is saying and go into this place as a practice, maybe for a question, you might have to do this 10 times. Not in a row, like 10 times. You'd be like, okay, I don't know the answer. Let's get an intuitive answer. I'm going to go into stillness. Put my little question in there, and then what's happening? And then come out and go about my day, and then I'm going to go back in and check it again. Go about my day, and again, this might take a few times. And I'm also going to pay extreme attention to this combination of going into relaxation and stillness, letting the mind take a breather from trying to figure it out, seeing what comes, and also attaching that to what event or synchronicity or something happens just a little bit after that moment of stillness. For example, if you went into a moment of stillness about this question about your friends, you get this idea that neither of them is getting the story right. And then you come out of this relaxed state and boom, you have an email coming in from somebody that gives you a different perspective that you know is correct. Or boom, you go out and you see a bird, and the way the bird is acting gives you a symbolic understanding of the situation. Or you are on a drive and a song comes on the radio. So we're talking about synchronicities here. So these disruptors in the flow that help you pay attention. Relaxation and awareness. It's really all it is. It's letting the mind not try to figure the problem out, we haven't talked about this yet, but it's letting full detachment from outcome. That's a different story. We'll talk about that another time. And we're just relaxing and just tuning into our sense of knowing. If we're part of one, how can we not know? If we're part of one, if you believe in oneness, as I do, how can we not know every part that's happening always? I am Sarah Wiseman, and I will see you next time.